So, characters. We've got Anakin Sandhater, a dancer with a perfect dance-off record, Padme, aka the Swan, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the head of Anakin's dance troupe, Palpatine, a jealous manager and lighting technician, General Grievous, a metallic skeleton choreographer with a smoker's cough, Mace Windu, Sam Jackson cosplaying as a Jedi, and this is what literally happened in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. The space opera opens with a ballet number, complete with a full orchestral score. The star ballerina is, of course, Sandhater. As they plie and jouer and saute across the sky, some dancers find the physical exertion to be too much. Thankfully, they have a decent budget and are able to exit the stage with poofs of smoke. After the ballet is over, Sandhater and Obi-Wan go backstage to change out of their costumes, and are surprised to find a rival dance troupe waiting for them. Sandhater utilizes his jouering skills to impress them, as Obi-Wan takes a moment for himself to touch up his makeup. It takes them a while to get on the same level, but once they do, it's time for their meeting with the choreographer. After a rather dramatic entrance, you know how theater people are, the choreographer begins their lesson. All is well until he attempts to teach them jazz hands. It goes horribly wrong. The substitute choreographer, Grievous, takes over and begins his turn with the dancers. His production budget is small, though, and his props are pretty much limited to an egg made of light. This dance number ends quickly, resulting in
another happy landing.
Once he returns home from his tour, Sandhater meets up with his woman, Nina Sayers, and finds out she's pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
See, in this world focused on spaceships and droids and fully functioning robotic arms, contraception is on the back burner. That evening, Sandhater has a nightmare, so he goes, scared, to see his manager, who tells him it was a nightmare. Feeling silly, Sandhater practices staring at things for long periods of time and saying phrases in awkward ways to punish himself for his foolishness.
I don't believe that. And you're sounding like a separatist. Don't ask me to do that.
Feeling disheartened and alone after his long night, Sandhater calls up the manager of a rival troupe, hoping he can give him a second opinion. He and Palpatine go on a date to watch an experimental film of circles floating around in the air. Much to the dismay of other theatergoers, Palpatine decides it's story time, slipping the seeds of betrayal into Sandy's mind.
I'm not sure I understand.
Meanwhile, Obi-Wan heads to a solo gig only to find out he's been double booked with his choreographer.
Hello there.
This just won't do. He and Grievous solve this problem with, you guessed it, a dance battle. This one involving even more props and stage lights than Obi is used to. Regardless, Obi-Wan wins and goes home satisfied with his prowess and his paycheck. Back home, Sandy succumbs to Palpatine's words of wisdom and is fed up with his current dance troupe. Try as he might to stay with them, the call of another company is too great to resist. So he decides to join the new squad. Unfortunately, he finds out that his new squad has a few, conditions for him before he can fully join.
What have I done?
While Sandy does feel it's beneath him to compete in a dance-off against children, he really wants to be with a company that has such cool production equipment, so he figures he might as well follow through. Once he's beaten them, because obviously he would, Sandy moves on to his next challenge, an experienced group of ballroom dancers. Luckily, no one likes ballroom dancing, so it's an easy win. Upon the discovery of Sandy's betrayal,
You have done well, my new apprentice.
his former instructor and friend, Obi, has no choice but to challenge him to a final battle, one of both spoken word and dance. While the lackluster delivery of Sandy's initial performance hurts his odds,
You will not take it from me!
his phenomenal choreography helps pick up slack. Sandy's moves are on fire. But Obi is a champ at outdoor performances. He grew up breakdancing in the streets of Scotland for drugs. He ends up winning the dance battle because Sandy had been so eager to work with fancy production equipment that he forgot how to groove naturally. Disappointed in his newest squad member, Palpatine swears he'll make sure Sandy's better prepared for the next dance-off. I mean, his troupe is still the best after all. He breaks the piggy bank and invests millions to make him into the ultimate dancing machine. Back at home, Padme births her 2 little grains of sand and dies of a broken heart, too embarrassed by her husband's massive flop of a performance to continue. Grain A is to be raised by a rich military general and his wife, while Grain B is dropped off on a farm in the middle of Arizona. Although they will likely possess their father's skills, they won't be taught how to dance. Not after he was such an epic disappointment. Back in their studio, Palpatine and Sandy begin the process of constructing their magnum opus, oblivious to the fact that it will be destroyed 20 years later, or 20 years earlier, depending on how you look at it. Regardless, one thing is certain. This one will blow everyone away, and won't contain any sand at all ever because it's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere. And that is what literally happened in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.